Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Welcome to part 2 of Setting Boundaries. We started talking about setting boundaries in the previous episode. You can look for that if you weren't listening to it. We kind of ran out of time. It's a big topic and, we talk a lot.
We talk a lot. I'm not really surprised we ran out of time because we could talk for hours.
We really could. And we do.
Yeah,
we're friends outside this podcast. We do. But, we ran out of time and we decided better to do a second episode about setting boundaries than to not talk about everything that we need to say about it, which includes helping children to problem solve. We sort of touched on it, I think, in the first episode.
We did.
Right?
We did. We talked about involving them in the problem solving a little bit. But I think involving them is a big part of it. I mean, you shouldn't, as an adult, be solving all their problems for them, because how will they ever learn to problem solve if they're not doing it with you at first? And eventually they'll do it on their own, which is the goal.
Yeah, because they'll learn those critical thinking skills that they are not actually born knowing how to do.
Right.
So we have to demonstrate it for them, and we have to show them, and we have to involve them. We have to acknowledge what they're feeling and then ask some questions to get them to think. Things like, I see you're frustrated. What can we do next time you want that toy? What should we do?
What should we do? And I think we need to teach them that, because your solution to the problem might not be what they want. So when you say, what can we do next time you want that toy? They might say, I'm just going to wait my turn. And if that's how they want to solve it, okay. They might not say anything. I would be like, no, well, let's go talk to the other child and let's, but they might
let's
not
enter
be
into
at
heavy
that.
Negotiations.
Yeah, but they might not be at that level yet,
Right.
where they want to negotiate. They might just be like, and you have to just be like, okay, if that's how you want to solve the problem, let's do that, and let them be their own people.
And it's acceptable because it's within the 3 rules. We said in the last episode that the 3 main rules for early learners especially are health and safety, respect for people, and respect for property, which when we speak to children can be stated, be safe, be kind, take care of our things. And if that child says, well, next time I'm going to walk away or, whatever, if it's doable and it's within those rules, then that's fine. That's their solution. And if they don't enjoy that solution next time, then we can go back and say, what else can we do?
Right. Because I think when we say respect for people, I know we are talking that the children should be kind to other people, but that also means that we as teachers need to respect them as people too. So just because their solution isn't the one that you really want them to do, you still need to respect that, hey, they did think of a solution and it does fall within those 3 rules. So I need to accept that, and that's respecting them and their little bodies as people, And
life is trial and error. They should learn that when they're young, and they should learn that it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to try something new. It's okay not even to like that solution and to try and find another one. If plan A, isn't it a life lesson? If plan A doesn't work, we need to come up with a plan B.
Right. And I think we need to start doing this at a very young age. So the children who are not yet verbal, you still need to model this problem solving for them. In this case, you probably are you're solving the problem for them because they can't really communicate it yet, but they'll learn it from an early age. Oh, this is what I do when I have a problem.
Right, but verbally do everything, right? Verbally ask the question, answer your own question if the child is nonverbal. Ask and answer. Just kind of say, wow, I see you're frustrated. What should we do next time? Maybe we can try reaching for another block on the shelf, or you can come get me. Yeah. And then we demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Or we could say to them, I wonder. I wonder is one of my favorite phrases in classrooms.
I
I'll look at
love I
children all the
wonder.
time and right. I'll look at them and say, I wonder what we can
Yeah.
do next time. And then I'll just say what we can do next time for a child who's less verbal. But if the
Yeah.
child is verbal enough, sometimes don't you get kids, like I'll say to them, wow, I wonder what we can do next time. And they just kind of look at me and shrug. I was in a classroom recently and there were a bunch of children near the dress up clothes. And this child wanted dress up clothes. And I could see that he was getting frustrated because he couldn't figure out how to get himself in there. That was the frustration.
Yeah.
So he was starting to get really upset. And I went over and I said, would you like to get something from the dress up rack? And he nodded. And I said, well, there are a lot of people over there. What do you think we can do? And he just looked at me. He had no idea.
No idea.
No idea. So, and he's verbal, and
Yeah.
I said to him, well, I think there are a couple things we could do. We could wait until people move away from the dress up clothes and then go get one, or we could go over and say, excuse me, and see if they'll let us through to reach what we want. I said, what do you want to do? And he just still sort of looked at me. And I said, well, do you want to go over and see if you can get the clothes that you want? And he nodded. And I could tell he was like a little hesitant to do it. So I said to him, well, I'll go with you if you would like me to go with you. And I offered him my hand. And he took my hand and we walked over. And I told him what to do. I said to him, say, excuse me. Go ahead, tell them, excuse me. And he did. And a couple of children turned around and I said to them, he said, excuse me. That means he wants to get in there to reach something. They don't necessarily know.
They don't know.
Right?
But now the next time that boy has the same problem, right, where he wants to get into an area and can't, he now knows what to do. And he might not do it the first time it happens again or the second time, but eventually if you do that enough and you model it with him, he'll know what to do.
Right. So next
he
time,
didn't know what to do the first time. He's going to know next time.
Hopefully. I mean, and even if he doesn't, so next time I have to do the same thing. I have to say to him, do you want to do this or that? I can't look at him and go, well, tough luck. It's busy over there. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have to be consistent. And that's part of setting boundaries too. And teaching them boundaries and teaching them behavior is being really, really, really consistent.
Yeah.
If I can't keep it up over time, then I need to think about what I'm doing.
Right. I think consistency is very, very important because if you set a boundary in your house or your classroom and the first time you're very like, nope, we don't do that in our classroom. And then the next time you're like, who cares? Those children aren't going to have any clue what to expect from you. They don't know what you find important and what you don't care about, So like if you do the same thing every single time, then they're like, oh, I really can't hit my friends. She really means it.
Or they're just going to get so tired of you talking to them about their behavior.
Yeah.
They're gonna, right? They're going to be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I really don't want to have this conversation with her again. I can't hack.
My gosh.
Right? I can't hack that woman coming over here and talking to me about this anymore.
True.
I feel that way as an adult
sometimes. Yeah.
Right. As an adult, don't you feel that way sometimes? Like, you were going to have a well visit at the doctor. The doctor's going to talk to you about your weight. You're thinking to yourself, I can't hack that conversation again. I'm just not making the appointment.
Seriously, I know. Or you have the opposite effect. You're like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to actually try this time and see if. Now that's what I tried to do this time, but it didn't work.
No,
but at least I could tell them I tried. So.
Yeah, just give them the pathetic look.
Yeah,
I feel like that stays with us from early childhood. I just give the doctor the really sad, pathetic look.
I know.
I know,
and they know when you're lying to them. That's the thing, So it's like,
they really do. Who are we kidding? They take blood and test it, and they know what I'm eating. But for young children, like I can understand why they would get tired of me constantly telling them the same thing, and that in itself can be a motivator. If I do it the same way all the time, with respect for their feelings and with kindness, they still can get tired of me saying it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do have children roll their eyes at me sometimes, and they don't mean to be like completely disrespectful or anything, but that tells me sometimes, oh, Alison, you're talking too much. They heard this already and they're going to do better because they're just like, oh, come on, Miss Alison. Rusty.
Alison, you there?
Hi. My dog, wait, hold on.
Alison, where'd you go?
Sorry.
Where'd you go?
My dog took my wire from my headset and unplugged it from the computer
You
while
need
I
to
was
set
talking.
boundaries for this dog. I
Yeah,
can't.
even he's like, Miss Allison, shut up. Yeah, I had to set boundaries. I will say, like, I have really good boundaries for the kids in my class, but not good boundaries for my dog.
Okay, so let's do the step-by-step for the kids. And maybe the dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
the dog needs some training.
I don't have a dog, but maybe this would apply to the dog,
he needs to listen to this podcast.
I know. So I think, like, if we were going to do a step-by-step, I'll do it because you're having dog issues. I think if we do a step-by-step, it's kind of like this. We have to remind the children. Let's say a child hits another child with a block. I always pick on the block area because it's such a violent area of a classroom. Child hits another child with a block, that we need to bring them over to us. We need to say to them, be safe and be kind. Blocks are for building. Next time I see you're frustrated, next time you're frustrated, what can we do?
Yes.
And we try and get them to problem solve with us, that maybe they could get another block off the shelf, or they can ask for the block. And I always tell kids, if that doesn't work, you can come get me. I'll help you.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget to offer help. And then we should maybe give them a choice of 2 other things to do for a minute while they calm down. Something like, let's take a little time from the block area until you're ready. Would you like to do Play-Doh or color? Which one? And give them a choice of those 2 things to kind of feel a little empowered again and redeem themselves. But then I also believe in redemption. And I believe if the child says, I want to go back over there, that we need to let them do it and see if the lesson got through.
Right. Because if you don't give them another chance, how will you ever know that they learned it?
Right. I think we have to let them go back over there. And then when you see them hitting with a block again, we have to go through the same thing again.
Yeah.
We have to bring them over to us. We have to talk about their behavior. And don't you think that whole bring them over to us is probably another episode we should do of this podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an important one.
Yeah, I think that we need to talk about time out and what we know about it now and what we should be doing instead. What do you think?
Yes, that's a good one too. So I think a lot of people are still using timeout and
are they
not
really?
necessarily using it appropriately. I mean, it's just we'll just do another episode.
I think time away from what you're doing right now is very different than time out.
Yeah, because I call it taking a break. Let's take a break. I think that's different, but I think people are calling that break time out.
I don't know, but it depends how you do the break. But I think you're right. I think this is something we should talk about in a different episode, and maybe you and I can. This is a hot topic, this whole how do we take children away from what they're doing right now and what do we do about that is a really hot topic right now with social workers and psychologists, because we know how children take in the messages we send them better than we used to. So let's do another episode on that. And I'm going to tell people, hopefully, subscribe to this podcast, because then you'll know when that episode is on. And you'll be able to listen to our advice about moving children away from what they're doing. And then what do you do with them? Because timeout really isn't what we should be doing with them.
Yeah.
Also, if you have questions, you can email us. My email is to Cindy, and my email is cindy@helpingkidsachieve.com.
And my email is AlisonJoy79@gmail.com.
Okay, so hopefully everyone will subscribe and look for that next episode about timeout or not timeout. That is the question.